I keep seeing people bobbing up and bobbing down again. I'm not sure if I think I might be 100% talking to myself at the moment, but let me know if you are here. It feels nice to know if people are actually here, rather than me talking to myself. I don't mind talking to myself. I talk to myself all the time. It's not at all a sign of madness, honestly. It's completely sane to talk to yourself. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me and introduce myself while I'm waiting for people to come in. There we go. And maybe myself in the context of being distracted. This is the morning when I'm going to talk a little bit about being a person who is easily distracted, it seems, that I have been for a very, very long time. So, yeah, let me know if you're here. Say hello in the comments. I feel like I am possibly talking to myself. Oh, Rachel's here. There we go. It's a funny system, this, because it says people are here, and then sometimes there's little faces bobbing along the bottom of the screen, and sometimes there's not. And Rachel, thank you so much for letting me know that you're here. I'm gonna talk more fluently now, because I was a bit like, oh, am I talking to myself? But I'm not. Rachel's here, so that's I don't mind if it's just me and you, Rachel, quite frankly. And thank you so much. You're in Kent. Hopefully your weather's it's a bit dreary again here today. Fingers crossed it's going to perk up over the weekend, because we're nearly at another weekend, aren't we? It goes so fast. So a little bit more about me, about the 3 principles. But in this context of distraction, I'm going to try and introduce myself with a little bit about, this particular subject now. So I had a bit of a revelation recently about distraction. Wet and autumnal, Rachel. Oh no. I have to say, I've been for a walk this morning and it had that nip in the air feel to it, does it, in the moments? It is cold overnight. I've resisted putting the heating on. I think I've got tougher over the last winter because I haven't put the heating on much because of the price of fuel. But yeah, today definitely feels nippy. So I would say that I'm a person who is a fidgeter. Like I do fidget a lot. Like I've got my nails done at the moment, which is partly because they look nicer, but partly because I have this terrible habit of picking the skin at the bottom of my thumbs. That's one of my little distraction habits, and they get quite bad actually. It's not good. And so I get my nails done so that I can so that I tend not to pick when my nails look nice, because obviously that doesn't look good, does it? And also because the way the false nails go on, you can't really get to the skin so easily. That's quite good. But I do have a piece of blue tack, and I fidget. I am a person who fidgets. Or I fidget less than I used to, I think, because of this understanding. But I'm a person who fidgets, and also a person who I've noticed over the years is flits about between things, so quite easily distracted. But I didn't think much of it at all until a few weeks ago when I was having a chat with a lady who was telling me about ADHD and how she had diagnosis of ADHD kind of later on in life. She was in her early 50s, I think, and she'd been diagnosed when she was about 50. I'm 52, and she, as she was describing herself and her behaviours, I was thinking, oh, that's just what I used to be like when I kind of was in my self-development, I need to fix Clare phase, which was all about productivity and not being distracted and not procrastinating and being motivated all the time and getting everything done and being kind of on it all the time. That how this lady was quite familiar to me, and it was very interesting to hear everything that she said, and then to realise that was probably me sort of 4 years ago, but now I'm not the same as that. I still have some fidgeting and some distraction things going on, but nowhere near as bad. So I thought for funsies, I would do an ADHD quiz online just to see, just to kind of bring it into, just to kind of help with awareness. I'm not a big fan of labels. I think they're helpful if they are helping people to just become more aware, but not in a, well, that's who I am now, and that's how it always has to be, and that's, I have to learn how to cope with that. Not, I don't like the energy of that really, and I don't think that's particularly helpful. But if it's about awareness raising, so I did one of these quizzes online, and the answers were you could have were never, rarely, sometimes, often. And I noticed that as I was answering the questions, I was rarely for some things, and sometimes for others, and the odd often. But as I was going through the quiz, I was thinking, oh well, actually, I used to be more, I probably would have in the past answered this question as sometimes or often, as opposed to rarely or sometimes. There would have been more oftens and more sometimes. You see what I mean? And even on the questions, the way I answer it now, the answers did create a result that said, I mean, it kind of says you could or could not have ADHD, but it kind of said I was in the higher end of the score, so the late 30s out of 50. But I suspect if I'd filled it in 4 years ago, I would have been like much closer to 50. Very interesting. So but it seems to me that that's changed. So if I did, or if I have an ADHD type brain, it seems to me that being in this conversation has reduced the impact of that. I'm not going to say I've cured it, because there's still definitely some behaviours like that, but it has reduced, and everything's quieter. It's like oil has been poured on the water of that. Now, I know that distraction is something that's key. I read a few, I'm not on LinkedIn that much these days, but I used to see quite a lot of posts on LinkedIn. Quite a lot of my colleagues and my associates in business recently have been diagnosed with ADHD later on in life, in their 40s and 50s. And I've seen a lot of it, and I've seen them describing how they are. And distraction is a massive part of that. So we're gonna explore that a little bit more today. So if you haven't come across me before, I haven't done any of my normal introduction. I just kind of got thrown into that, got into that bit about this revelation about ADHD that I'd had. So that kind of behaviour was part of my self-development mission that I was on not so long ago, until I came across these 3 principles, which is what I talk about, and became what I am now, which is this pretty calm person, pretty focused, pretty productive, not motivated all the time, but also not needing to feel particularly a particular way to get things done, getting a lot more done, much more creative, like in a much happier place. And I did spend a lot of time working on that, unsuccessfully, before I came across the 3 principles. So that's it's been an interesting journey for me. So I love to help people reveal their true potential. That's why I call myself a human potential catalyst, because I think we are the potential of the universe. We are so much more than we can see, because we see everything, including ourselves, through the lens of our thinking, and that's not, it turns out, the most reliable thing on the planet. So if you want to find out more about the 3 principles, I do go and follow me, and on my profile there is a track called "What are the 3 principles and why do they bring more ease to life?" And that's a great one to listen to. And if you haven't already done so, I suggest you listen to that if you're interested in this and learning more about the 3 principles. It's a good starting point. If you have already listened to it, let me know. So I can see a few more people have come in. Let me know if you where you are in the world, where you're situated at the moment. Maybe it's not the place you're situated all the time. I'm at home at the moment, but I'm often in my motorhome. So and you can often catch me there. So let me know where you are and what you're up to. And what brought you to this session today? Is there something that you've noticed about you in terms of distraction and lack of focus? Is that what's brought you here today? Because that's the topic for today. Is we're looking at focus, and we're looking at the opposite, which is being very distracted, isn't it? I'm just getting up my Insight Timer profile so I can talk about what else we've got coming up in the next couple of days. I've only got the next couple of days scheduled in, actually, today and tomorrow, and then we're on to a new topic on Monday. So if you are new to the 3 principles, let me know in the comments. If you're you know about 3 principles already, that's cool too. Hello, Jennifer in the night from Toronto. Hello, Jennifer. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're resonating. Hello, Nicola, who's new. I like to hear there's some newbies. If you are a newbie, please go and follow me and explore the things I've got on my Insight Timer profile. So I've just submitted course number 4. So fingers crossed, if the Insight Timer gods approve it, it will be out next week. Usually it takes them about a week or so to get them out. So it'll be next week or the week after, and we'll already have started exploring relationships next week, and the course is called Creating Harmonious Connections. So it's all about relationships, not just our love relationships, but all our relationships, because we have a lot of them, don't we, in all different shapes and sizes. So if you find this content helpful today, and you are able to support me through donation, this session is brought to you by donation. It's not, I don't get paid for that. So Rachel, you're between jobs, not sure where to go next. Your background is education, and it is hard to move on. Absolutely. And unfortunately for me, Rachel, I don't know if you've heard my story, but I was in education, 20 years in primary teaching, and head teacher in the end, and burnt out, unfortunately. And it is an interesting transition, is moving from education to the rest of the world, because the rest of the world is so different, isn't it? Education is in a little box, and it's very safe and enclosed, and we don't have to, we don't have much to do with the real world or the rest of the world. Education is the real world, but you know what I mean, Rachel. But if that's something, transitions are something I love to talk to people about and help people get clarity over, and really connect to our own wisdom on, because the other thing about making transitions like that is that there's a lot of people who've got an opinion. Maybe you've noticed that, Rachel, and you think, well, but what do I want to do? I've got 2 clients at the moment, actually. I've got a young lady who's only 18, and she's jacked in what she was doing at college, and she's been a bit like, what do I do next, and where do I go? And really, I'm working with her to trust what she thinks about that, rather than a family who are very, very opinionated by the sounds of it about what she should be doing. But I also have an older client who's in her 50s, and she's stepped away from work. She's worked in the same place for like 20 odd years, and she's got enough money in the bank to have some time out and kind of explore what she might want to do next. And her family and friends have been the same. She just keeps doing a bit of work here for a couple of weeks, and then she sees another little project over here, and she goes and does that. And her family are going, you can't do that. You've got to. Friends are saying, you've got to. When are you going to get a proper job? When are you going to get a job? What are you doing? And she's just like really enjoying following her intuition, while everybody else is going, you've got to do it this way. So yeah, we all could do with a bit of harmony, Nicola. I think that the whole world could do with a dose of that. But I think the most important place to look for that is inside. And what I would love you to know, Nicola, is that that's in you already. The capacity for harmony is there inside you, and is not something you need to go find out there. So get curious about seeing that in yourself, about noticing where there are those moments of harmony, when the outside world can be doing its outside crazy. So when we talk about the 3 principles, we're talking about what's also known as the inside out understanding. So we're looking towards seeing how our experience is created from the inside out, not from the outside in. And so let's crack on with today's topic, which is distraction and focus. So, as I was saying earlier on, I've become quite alerted to the fact that I probably do have an ADHD type brain, but actually, I would say that probably a lot of women do. I think that's perhaps a bit of a female brain type, isn't it? I think we do flit about. We're always busy, and I think having misheard the call to action, women are very busy. The call to action was, maybe 70, 80 years ago, the call to action was, you can do anything, women. Now look, you can do anything you want. And we heard, you can do everything. And so we've been distracted by the idea that we're supposed to be doing everything and doing everything well and being very busy, and that's really the crux of being a woman now is busyness, doing things, and of course doing them perfectly. Don't forget, I'm doing them yesterday also. So we get overwhelmed, don't we, by that, and we end up like flitting about between things, and that's really what we're talking about here when we talk about distraction. Now, I was actually earlier today, I was making a recording of this session, a shorter version of the session, like a little podcast length one for you to go and have a listen to. If you don't catch this, or you want to listen again, or you want to listen to it, won't be exactly the same because that's just not how I roll, but it will be pointing in a similar direction. So I was saying that, like, my phone is here, so it's here, and it's here because I look at my Insight Timer profile to tell you what sessions I've got coming up. So I've got my phone in front of me now. My phone is an inanimate object. There it is. It's got no ability to do anything, and it's got no ability to make me pick it up. The decision to pick that phone up came from me, came from inside me, did not come from the phone. Now, of course, many of us feel quite distracted by our phones, don't we? Hands up in the room, or give me a heart if you feel distracted by your phone or what's on your phone, rather than, it's not the phone itself, is it? It's the stuff that's on our phone, like social media or email. I've got into this really, and I've just noticed it as I'm talking about, I've got into this habit of looking at just clicking onto my email. I'm going to just move it, I think, off the screen that it's on and hide it somewhere, because I've just got into this habit of, well, yes, but that's an outside-in solution, isn't it, Claire? Moving it. There's something about noticing. So that urge to pick up our phone, and for me to click on my email, it's the first thing I do in the morning. Now, I don't think that's damaging to me, like we're told it is, but I don't think there's no point to it. It's a waste of my time. And I'll even do it like I'm rushing to do something else and I'll click onto my email. It's just so funny. So the phone itself and all the apps, there's many apps on my phone, all the apps in the world do not have the capacity to make you do anything. But we talk about distraction like it is. Like we talk about, like, there's a pen. It's an inanimate object like a phone. It doesn't have an ability to make me pick it up. My fiance is a tidier, and he'll tidy when, or he'll empty the dishwasher. We'll be like in a rush to go somewhere, and he'll be tidying something up. And I'm like, does that actually need doing now? Like, yeah, food needs to go in the fridge for going out, and but actually the rest of it could wait till we get back. And he can't stop himself. He's very distracted by that. And I'm distracted by other things. It's just I don't care about mess so much as he does. But none of those things, the pots in the kitchen, the pots in the dishwasher, my phone, that pen, anything else. Oh, look, there's a box. It's in the wrong place. It's a box of red. It's my red lippy box. I like a bit of red lippy when I do a line. I don't have to move that and put it over there, but I've done it now because I saw it there. but all the time, it looks like these things are pulling us into their evil web, but they can't do that. Behavior doesn't work from the outside in. And, if we're trying to stop being distracted by things, we might try something, like steely willpower. I'm going to sit on my hands in this chair. I'm going to try and stop myself picking up things or doing things that I shouldn't be doing right now. It's going to be quite difficult to do the rest of life sat on my hands, though. But have you, let me know in the comments, let me know that you're here, if you've just arrived, but also let me know if you've tried steely determination to stop yourself being distracted by things, like pure willpower, pure force. And how's that gone for you? I'm interested to know. Not well, I suspect, because it doesn't go well, does it? Because willpower is just, it's a finite resource, and we don't have enough of it to stop ourselves doing things. So there's the world out there, and the world out there looks like it's distracting us, but in actual fact there is something else at play. Because really, I hope you can see from that first little bit that the stuff out there cannot make you do things. It doesn't have the capacity to do that. Yeah, and most things, well, I'd say everything that we're distracted by is an inanimate object, isn't it? Not even a thing. I'm not distracted by my tissues. I just need one. There's not. Those inanimate objects cannot make us do anything. But have you heard the news about distraction? Have you heard we live in a distracting world, and we're distracted, and getting distracted is becoming easier? And I would say, in my 3.5 years of exploring 3 principles, opposite is happening. I'm really a lot more kind of, I can't be bothered. I'm still clearly have some distracting behaviour, or I'm distracted. I'm listening to my distracting thinking, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, because I'm still doing some of those things, but it's a lot less than it was. So if it's not out there, if distractions are not out there, because they're not, I'm sure you've had times when there's been a lot going on around you, and you've just been like head down, totally focused, not really paying attention to any of those things out there. We all have, haven't we? We've all had that experience of being able to focus despite what's going on around us. I find noise to be distracting sometimes. Like sometimes Bruce and I are both working in the motorhome, and it's a big motorhome, but it's only 7 meters of space, and if he's having a conversation, I find myself, I'm just nosy, I think that's the main thing, listening to his conversation, being distracted by it. But sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I can just zone it out, focus on what I'm doing, and get my head down and get things done. Don't find that easy. That's something where I could bring some more awareness to. What's my story about noise? But it doesn't have to pull us away from where we would like to be focusing our attention. So hopefully that's making sense so far. I'm guessing by some hearts going up the side that is making sense. We're being told that it works outside and it doesn't, that things out there can make us do things and they can't. They're all inanimate objects. They don't have any power over us at all. So what's really going on? Let's talk about that now. And of course, we're talking about all of this from a 3 principles perspective. And if you're finding the 3 principles an interesting proposition, an interesting new way of looking at things, it is a complete paradigm shift against the outside-in misunderstandings that we've been told for many, many years. It's a psychological, I want to say, revolution. They often call it a psychological renaissance. Thank you, Jennifer, you're telling me that it makes sense. That's really, thank you. It's good to hear. It's a psychological renaissance, a completely new way of looking at human experience and how it's created. If you're finding it interesting, please do go and follow me. That's where you'll find all my stuff, all my different tracks, loads and loads and loads of free tracks, and new ones going on every day, just about. Or a few times. I tend to leave a few and then upload them at once. There's plenty of new free tracks, and there's also 3 courses, and number 4 has been birthed. Well, it's in gestation because it's gone to insight timer for approval. So it's been conceived and it's been recorded, and it's all about relationships, which we'll be starting to explore on Monday. So especially if you are interested in learning more about relationships from a 3 principles perspective, and that's been huge for me, just so much better. My relationships are so much better as a result of this understanding. Then please do follow me and check out all the bits and bobs that I've got going on. So from a 3 principles perspective, let's talk about this subject of distraction. So what is going on there is thought created. So we talk a lot in the 3 principles about the power of thought. It is very, very powerful. It's creating a lot of the way in which we see the world, all the stories and all the things we think are right and wrong and all our beliefs and everything. But it's doing that so, if the word is quietly, it's doing that so subtly that most of the time we don't know it's going on. So most of the time we'll have picked up our phone, we'll have scrolled for 10 minutes and lost ourselves on Instagram or somewhere. We'll have scrolled for 10 minutes and then we'll kind of go, oh, damn, we've lost the time. And we won't even have much awareness of why we even picked the phone up in the first place. Thank you for all the lovely hearts. I love the hearts going up the side. They're so cute. I started attending some other people's lives recently, and just to see what other people are talking about, what's going on in Insight Timer. And I do like the little heart button. It's really nice. I like pressing it. And now I've seen it from the other side now, so I can kind of see how the screen works. So the donate button is just at the top of the screen on your phone. And of course, these sessions are brought to you by donation. I don't get paid for doing this. And so if you are able to make a donation today, I'm seriously very grateful. So human behaviour is all explainable really in exactly the same way, and that is we as human beings want to feel good. That's like our mission in life. There's nothing else really. Like, that's it, isn't it? We want to feel good. We want to feel at peace. I think that's one of the things that I talk about calm, which I think is, I don't know what the difference is between calm and peace. Perhaps somebody can tell me. But we just want to feel good. I often say I just want to feel okay. I'm not really I don't need happy clappy like some, crazy show. Oh, peace, hello. Lovely to see you. I don't need it to be flashy. I don't need it to be fancy. I just want to feel okay. And just have, a nice amount of joy and contentment and laughter. I don't need these days to have life to be fancy or flashy. Yeah, content, I think, is a good word. Peace, I agree with that. So that's the human thing. That's our thing. That's literally all we ever want, is to feel better. Our whole system is built to take us to that place, to take us home, because that's where it is. So that's the first thing that's really useful to know, is that all the feelings, harmony we've talked about today, contentment, peace, love and wisdom, all of that is already inside you. The trouble is that we've misunderstood where it is and we think it's outside. So in terms of human behaviour, and distraction is just a human behaviour, it's no more complicated than any other human behaviour. We feel a discomfort and we think that the thing, so we think the thing that's distracting us is going to make us feel better. That's it. So if it's picking up a phone and scrolling on social media, it's just because in that moment we might have a bit of FOMO. We might be feeling a bit like, I can't bother doing anything else. Whatever we're feeling, we think that feeling better is available in the phone, whatever's on the phone. Sometimes, when I feel quite overwhelmed, I'll notice that I think it'll feel better to do a little task, like a little admin task, rather than something meaty. So I'm distracted by the little task and I'm not doing. So the meaty thing for me is that I'm doing my Institute of Leadership and Management Coaching and Mentoring Level 5 course, which is like a degree level course. I've got a big assignment. Well, I shouldn't call it a big assignment. I've got a 5,000 word assignment to do in the next few weeks. And then I've got 2 other 5,000 word assignments, although they're less academic based, so there's not so much research and stuff involved in them. And I'm also doing some PR training. So I've taken on 2, probably should have waited and done the PR training later in the year, but I've probably taken on a bit too much at once. And who knows why I did that? Well, because there was a feeling driving it of some description. So I'm noticing myself being distracted by little things and faffy things rather than getting into my assignment. And I think that's because there's some fear around the assignment. So I'm addressing the fearful feeling by avoiding the assignment, which is silly because, of course, getting the assignment done, it'll feel much better. Yeah. Anyway, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it going on, and it will just fall away. And I have done some work on the assignment. I've not avoided it completely, but and I'm seeing lots of hearts going on because I guess you can relate to this. You understand what I'm talking about. So I'm being distracted by stuff, but it's all the same driver. We feel a feeling, and then we look for relief from that feeling, and we listen to our thinking. So let's say we feel FOMO or whatever it is. Perhaps you can share with me what it is that drives you to pick up your phone and scroll on social media. Because all you really need is to start to get aware of what it is. So I'm feeling FOMO, and there's a thought in my head. I might not even be that aware of it, because almost the thought's there and the arm's gone out, picked up the phone, like before the thought's even like properly come to life, hasn't it? The action seems like it's there first. It isn't. There has to be a thought first. And the thought says, pick up your phone and scroll on social media for a bit. Not like that. It's not like it's. You can't actually. Well, maybe you can sometimes see that thought, but it's not that much in your face. But it's just there's a movement happening, and then the phone's in your hand, and before you know it, you're scrolling on social media, or clicking on your email, which seems to be my little thing. But if the phone isn't making us do it, then it's our drive to feel better. That's it. And all we really need is to start to become aware of the habit. Not so we can stop the habit, because just trying, as I said before, trying to stop doing these things is so hard. Anybody here tried willpower as a way to change something, as a way to stop being distracted, as a way to avoid procrastination, to get more focused? It just doesn't work, does it? And I'm seeing a lot of love going up the side of the screen, because I think you're relating. Well, I hope it's because you're relating to this. You've been there too. Willpower just doesn't work. It's tiring. And I read once that we literally have a finite amount of it. And I've noticed that. I used to notice that in myself, that when I was really struggling with productivity, if I had a day when I was like super productive, at the end of that day, I couldn't stay out of the fridge and the food cupboards. It was almost like I'd willpowered my way through doing stuff, rather than what happens now is that I see doing stuff in a completely different way. So I don't need willpower. I don't need to make myself do things. Things just happen. But then, of course, I had no willpower to stop myself eating rubbish out of the cupboards. So that was the result of that quite often. So let's just recap what we've talked about so far. Remembering that we're exploring all of this from a three principles perspective. So let me know if you've come across the three principles either just through me or otherwise, because I'm not the only teacher teaching this. There's lots of us about. And if you are enjoying this session with me, then I'd love you to join me for more sessions and join me on my courses and join me on my free tracks. But if not, then just find somebody who resonates, or find more than one person. That's an even more fun way to learn about it. I'm really into Dr. Amy Johnson at the moment. Love listening to her stuff. I was listening to one this morning about worry. I'm going to do a session on that, I think, but it was absolutely brilliant. And I love listening. Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. That's really kind. Lovely. Thank you. These sessions are brought to you by donation. So thank you very much, Jennifer, for supporting me today and for supporting me to spread the word of the three principles, because it is, it's just so potent as a new way of looking at life and creating, just relieving human suffering. There's a lot of it about at the moment, isn't there? And I've completely lost the rest of that train of thought because I got distracted by Jennifer's lovely donation. Now I don't know where I was going at all. Oh yeah, showing the three principles, that is, everything that I talk about here is from a three principles perspective, and find a teacher who you love. That's what I was saying. And yeah, I'm enjoying Dr. Amy Johnson at the moment. I'm actually going to meet her in Spain in November, so that's super exciting. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to a retreat event with her. So thank you, Jennifer, for making your donation, and you're new to the three principles, so you're intrigued. So I recommend, Jennifer, listening to my track that's called What Are the Three Principles and Why Do They Bring More Ease to Life? And any of my other tracks, that they've all got various titles. And the courses too, Jennifer, if you're able to do that, because the courses, starting with Calm, Balance and Clarity with Ease, they kind of take you on a bit of a journey of exploration of different aspects of the three principles. And that's really what we're talking about here. Like, you won't often hear me talk about thought, mind and consciousness in the kind of three principle way, because that's what we're talking about. There are three principles, three jigsaw pieces, really, three truths about human beings. Human beings think, human beings are conscious, and human beings are alive. There's just these three facts about human beings. And the interaction of those three facts together, these three jigsaw pieces, brings to life the human experience, brings about the human experience. And that's what we're looking at when we talk about this. So just to recap, the distractions do not come from the outside world. Nothing in the outside world can make you do anything. Your phone cannot make you pick it up. My water bottle is going to my mouth to relieve a feeling of dryness in my mouth. The water bottle didn't make me pick it up. So the things that can seem to be distracting us in the outside world are not really doing that. So what's distracting us is us believing thoughts that are coming across our mind. And the thoughts we believe the most are the ones that look like they will relieve a feeling that we have. So this is not to do with distraction, but I think it's a really prominent example that we probably all remember. That we remember the occasion when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock across the face. So he did something in the world because of how he felt, not because Chris Rock didn't say something nice, but the anger feelings that Will Smith had came from him. And the relief that he thought he could get was from slapping Chris Rock across the face at the Oscars. And if Will Smith had realised, oh, it's my state of mind right now, he wouldn't have done the same thing. He would have behaved in a different way. So when we feel like we're being distracted by the outside world, by our phones, by the things out there, and also that's being reinforced, isn't it, by the news and the world saying, oh, it's a very distracting world now. People are distracted, and human beings have got. Have you heard the one about human beings have got shorter attention spans than fish now? Because, well, I hear that because I obviously, running a business, I go to little things about marketing and how, if you're making a TikTok video or an Instagram reel or something, you've got to literally grab people's attention straight away. Otherwise, they'll be gone. They won't stay on your content long enough to make a purchase or follow you or whatever. But isn't that interesting that, like, I find that I've got a longer attention span now from looking in this direction, probably just because my head is quieter and I don't believe my thinking quite so much anymore. That's all. So the outside world isn't making us do things, but we are seeking a better feeling as human beings. That's just the nature of being human, is that we want to feel better. So we're doing things all the time to try and feel better. And sometimes it looks like doing the thing that's distracting us is going to make us feel better. One of the things that distracts me a lot is just my thinking, and that is new ideas for my business. So I'll be start doing something and I'll be like, oh, a new idea. Unfortunately, a lot of my new ideas come at 3:00 in the morning. Not good. Although not so much, actually, in the last few weeks. I've noticed my mind being quieter even in the night, which is great. It means I'm sleeping better, which is also great. But the other thing that distracts me is the ideas, but also the reminders. Anybody else have reminder distracting thoughts? You've forgotten to. Have you done? You need to do that. And I used to find that, again, that comes with a feeling of urgency, doesn't it? So again, it's still a feeling. There's a feeling of urgency. And there's a thought that says, oh, you haven't done such and such. And like it comes with such an energy, Jennifer. It's like, is the world going to end if I don't pay the milkman now? Yes. I don't have a milkman. I don't know why I thought of that, but it's that kind of thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, I haven't done the such and such. And kind of this sense of, well, it's women again. We have to do everything, don't we? We have to do it now. We have to do it yesterday, actually, and we have to do it perfectly. And if we haven't done that, then it comes with this feeling of urgency. So I now have this pad of paper. I have various bits of paper. I'm going to just use the one bit of paper, and I just write it down. So today I've been to the supermarket this morning, and I've walked to the supermarket, just pick up some bits for tea. And I've got to do some research around magazines for my PR thing that I'm doing. And I looked at a few magazines. I thought there must be an online way. Does anybody know? Is there an online way to read magazines? You'd have to buy them all and look them all about. Just read them on a tablet or a phone or something. Anyway, so I've made it. As I was doing something earlier, I thought, oh, I need to find out about magazines online. So I wrote it down because that. So it's noticing. Because you did a yes for this, Jennifer. So it's noticing the feeling of urgency comes, and the feeling of urgency is saying, do it now, do it now, do it now. Don't do what you're focusing on. You're in a nice place doing something that's really intense, like I should be doing my assignment. And then there's like, oh, just do that, just do that, just do that. And so, the feeling of urgency makes it look like we've got to do it now. Oh, if you belong to a library, you can access audio and ebooks and magazines. Rachel, the library is literally in the village. You could be my new best friend. You can go to the library and can you borrow them then? So if I think I'll need to rejoin the library because I probably haven't been a member of the library for a while. But thank you. Don't think it's flipping open today. I think it doesn't open on a Thursday. I'm going to have a look though. Rachel, thank you so much. You're my absolute hero. I can go and I can just go sit in the library and read them there, can't I? Without putting my heating on in July. It'd be nice and warm in the library. Thank you, Rachel. You're a gem. Oh, problem solved. I can cross that off my list then. So isn't it funny how the universe just provides sometimes? I just love it. The universe provided me with Rachel today. Thank you, Rachel. So that feeling of the thing that's distracting us comes often with a feeling of urgency, doesn't it? So I have to do that now. And so we stop doing what we're doing, where we're really kind of focused and calm and present, and we go off to do the other thing. So I mean, I don't really like to share tools and techniques, but for me, the resolution to that is, first of all, now the resolution has come from understanding the feeling, actually. The understanding that a feeling of urgency is because you have urgent thinking, not because the thing needs doing now. That is so important to see. Actually, if you think about urgent thinking, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Its energy's a bit, like, really, do we want to act in the world from that place? Is that the best for us? Are we at our best when we're in that urgent, sped up thinking? And that was huge for me when I realised that the feeling of urgency wasn't telling me I had to do everything now, do it fast and do it perfect, because that's what we think, don't we, ladies? But it was that I had urgent thinking about the thing. And then it made more sense to stop than to run. There's a saying, and I can't remember who said it now, but somebody once said, human beings are the only animals that speed up when they're lost. That's massive, isn't it? Like, because we do, don't we? Feel the urgent feeling. We go like, and actually, urgency is like anxiety, nearly, isn't it? It's sped up. It's not helpful thinking that. But of course, we feel the urgent feeling. We think the urgent feeling is telling us we need to do something in the outside world, and so the thought occurs to do something in the outside world. And we go do it. So that's something about all of this is about awareness. Start to just become aware of that urgent feeling if you've got one. And know that it is not about the outside world. It's about how sped up you are in the moment. So again, it's the same thing. There's the urgent feeling. It says I've got to do something. Now, I became very aware of this urgent feeling it might be about a year ago now, and went, oh my God, I really thought that was saying go faster. And then I realised that it wasn't. I needed to stop, and I started to stop. Excuse me. I started to stop when I felt urgent and take a breath and feel my feet on the floor and just go. And then I noticed that the thing that I thought I needed to do right now wasn't that important. And so generally what I do with them is just scroll them down now. And sometimes I just ignore them, never even do them. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because they're things that I definitely would have gone and done and been distracted by in the past. And now that doesn't occur in quite the same way. So it's all this same thing. Whatever the feeling is that has you be distracted, it's about becoming aware of that feeling, and realizing that the feeling is not telling you to do something out of the outside world, and that a better feeling is not available in the outside world by doing something. Because if you notice that when you're distracted all the time, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. We tend to feel a bit out of kilter and a bit wobbly, don't we, when we're flitting from thing to thing. And then the big thing, the thing that we really would like to get done, is just sitting there, not moving. And for me right now, it's really interesting to look at this around this assignment that I've got to do, which involves some research and some reading and things like that. And maybe, do you know what, Rachel? Maybe I should just go sit in the library and do it, where there's maybe just for a change of scenery. Not because I need the outside world to be different to get it done, but I could look at some magazines while I'm there, couldn't I? and be warm, maybe. I might go sit in the library through the winter when it's cold. So, you know, there's I've forgotten my train of thought now. What was I going to say? So, you know, what we've hopefully seen here today is that the feelings aren't coming from the outside world, but the feelings seem to be coming from the outside world, and then the thoughts look true to address the feeling that isn't coming from the outside world anyway. And so then we do the thing and we keep being distracted and we lose our focus. So, and what is focus really is, what is focus? It's freedom from distraction, isn't it? Now, I don't think we're ever going to be free from our mind spitting things out, but this is the difference, is that perhaps we can get to a stage where our mind is spitting things out and we know what to do about that isn't going off and doing the thing. Maybe my mind can spit out ideas and reminders and panic and urgency about paying the milkman or whatever else it is, but I don't actually have to do that. I don't have to listen to my thinking. Did you realise you didn't have to listen to your thinking? I didn't until really recently. I thought it was just an instruction manual being read inside my head. I didn't even really know there was thinking. It's just thought, you know, there's this voice in my head telling me what to do, so I have to do what it says, because that's what you do, don't you? Did anybody else feel like that about their thinking? Now I'm much more aware. Yes, some distractions sit easier than others, don't they? Yes, Rachel. And what's great about that is to see that the level to which there is ease around the desire to do that thing is to do with us. And have you noticed too, Rachel, that actually this is a great one, because have you noticed how some days that thing, like let's take Facebook or social media, any social media, other social media platforms are available. Have you noticed how some days you're just not as bothered about it? Like, it's not the thing out there trying to make us do it. Have you noticed how you're fluctuating mood? Like, as a woman, you have a fluctuating system that fluctuates over 28 days. That is very up and down, that you are, you know, whether you are still, like, I'm not a cycling woman anymore in a menstrual sense, but I do notice that I do go up and down over that 28 days. You know, who knows, full moon, new moon, Mars in retrograde, I don't know. There's some energy, isn't there, that fluctuates. And have you noticed that sometimes, yeah, you're saying absolutely, sometimes you can take or leave the thing that seems so distracting the rest of the time, and other times you can't leave it alone. It just doesn't seem like you have the capacity, and that will be to do with your mood and your energy and how you're actually doing in the month, or just fluctuate. Like, you know, if you're full of cold and feeling grotty, like, it's gonna, like, when I'm tired, that phone is in my hand a lot more time, and I am really distracted. Thank you, Jennifer. Your pace is also slowing, more peace, more settled nervous system. That's lovely, Jennifer. Yeah. And I'm hoping you're talking about that across your life. But I also hope you're talking about it during this session. That's really nice if it is. But yeah, me too, definitely. And I think as we slow down, it's like a slowing down spiral, isn't it? That as we slow down, we become more aware, and as we become more aware, we slow down more, and as we slow down more, we become more aware, and so we're noticing it, you know, and we are becoming just more, because it's the awareness piece, non-judgmental awareness, which is the key to everything for me. Is just starting to notice where our mind goes, what our feelings are. So, Jana, you found yourself having to work on controlling all this in your mind when it started to feel like your head felt like stores trying to handle Black Friday customers. not always easy, but one day at a time. Bless you. What a lovely, not a lovely metaphor, like a very appropriate metaphor. That is such, I love that. I might steal that and use it somewhere else on social media, because yes, if you imagine, like, I've got that picture of the storefront where there's people camped outside and people like hammering on the doors and, trying to get in, that our thinking can really be like that, can't it? But it's realizing that it's our thinking that's doing that and not the things out there, because that just gives us some empowerment, I think, because there are, as you open up in this space, as you stay in this conversation, you will find more and more that, I say, it's like a chink of light where you can get off a train of thought. And that's huge, because I don't think I ever realised until recently that I could get off trains of thought. I just thought, when I'm in this now and off I go, Sure, I don't drive a train like that, but it felt like I was just like being dragged through it. But what this understanding has brought me is a light on the door with a button that says open to get off the train of thought. I don't know why I'm so emotional. And that's the other thing. If you don't like emotion when you're learning about 3 principles, you're listening and watching the wrong person. I sometimes just get these wells of emotion and connectedness, and I think your metaphor, like I feel for you, I really do, and that's part of it. I shall start calling myself an empath now. I don't really like labels, but yeah, I do feel the connection, especially in this space in Insight Timer. That's why I love sharing these sessions that are just by donation, because this is the space where I feel most connected. I like the courses because and do follow me and check out my course if you haven't already. I like the courses because there we can have a conversation on the course platform, which is nice. That you can ask me a question, and I've got a few people at the moment who are on one of my courses, and they're asking a question after every lesson, and that's really great, because we're, I'm ironing out misunderstandings, I'm hearing people's insights, and that's just so lovely. When you've created something, I think that's quite often something I don't like about other courses I've created on other platforms, is that you don't get anything back. You don't get any feedback. You don't get any conversation. People tend to just kind of go through the course, and unless I'm having conversations. So my way I work with people is course and conversation. So people go through a course with me, and we have sessions, one-to-one sessions. So I love that part of it, and that's what check out the link in my bio. There's an opportunity for all of you to reach out and have a conversation, and without like this sense of, I'm going to tell you about how I work with people. Of course I am. But I'm not going to ram it down your throat. I just love to talk to people. I love to have these conversations. So if there's something you want to explore. And you're right, Jana, just one day at a time. Just one day at a time. It can feel like you're being inundated by people banging on the door, thoughts banging on the door. But over time, as you start to become more aware that that's what's going on and that's what's creating the feeling, it does get easier to get off the train of thought. I can't believe how fast this hour has gone. It's been absolutely lovely. It's been really good. So I'm not going to go yet because I'm enjoying this. So Pradeep, I guess resisting a thought only makes it worse. Absolutely, definitely. Going through it and coming out at the other end while keeping sanity as a skill, I wish I had more resources to learn from. So, well, I mean, please go and listen to all my stuff, because it'll take you a while to get through all my free tracks. There's hours and hours and hours. And they're great because I don't advocate sitting down and trying to learn it. It's not that. Listen to it while you're out for a walk, like a podcast. Listen to it while you're making the tea or washing up or whatever else you need to do. So yeah, just the thing is with this 3 principles understanding is there is nothing to do. I said this to a lady on a discovery call yesterday on I call it a calm clarity call. I said to her, And the great thing about this is there's nothing to do. She went, what? Because she had tried everything. She had done all the, oh my goodness, I thought I'd done a lot of things. When she listed all the things she'd done, I was like, oh my goodness, you have done a lot of things. She'd done a lot more than me. And, different kinds of therapy and tools and techniques. And she had a cold water dipping thing, and she'd done a lot of things. And that and she's a busy lady, a parent, a business owner, too much to do already in the physical world without spending hours and hours fixing herself. And you don't need to do that. It's finished for me. I don't do anything. I don't do any tools or techniques. Nothing. So, yeah, I love that, Jennifer. Emotions are all perfect. No judgment. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're finding it helpful. And it is just observation, awareness, non-judgmental. That is the key. Absolutely, all the way. And Pradeep, ADHD only makes it a busier airport. Yeah, busier mind. Yeah, or a busier Black Friday, with the really best deals on. And that's what I'm saying about, I don't know who was here right at the beginning. I was saying I've had this revelation recently that I suspect that if I had done an been for an ADHD diagnosis 4 years ago, I would have been diagnosed with ADHD. I can definitely see when I talk to people about it, I can see that in myself. That's the thought created reality too. But and that now, I don't know, a lot of how I used to be has fallen away. So maybe even that doesn't have to be a permanent way of being. I'd love to explore that. I'd love to explore that with people. Because what if it doesn't have to be labels and medication? And what if even for people who are being diagnosed with particular brain function, what if even they could have a nicer experience of life because of this understanding? I think it's utterly possible. I really do. That's interesting. Yeah, when it's under control, ADHD enhances life. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a difficult life, and I would say I'm not sure I like control, but I would say that I've through this conversation, it's not the same as it would have been 4 years ago. I feel like I fundamentally know that. Obviously, that's still my thought created reality. So, lol. So who knows? So, yeah, Jennifer, absolutely reach out, book a call, drop me. There's loads of stuff on my link in bio. We can reach out. A few people have messaged me. A few people have messaged me on here, but it's a little bit glitchy. Doesn't always tell me where the messages are. I think there's a Telegram link on there as well, and there's other places. So Jennifer, yeah, I just love to talk to people who are already on this journey as well, because it's yeah. So yeah, always up for a chat. I'm a chatter. I love talking to people. So yeah, please do reach out, Jennifer. I'd love that. Yeah, so an hour's a good time, I think, isn't it? I hope you found that helpful. I've loved being here. Remember, these sessions are brought to you via donations, so if you are able to make a donation today, that will be very gratefully received. That supports me, and then of course the Insight Time I ask you to make a bit of a support to them too as you're making the donation, which I only realised recently because I was on a live yesterday and I made a donation to the teacher. She's actually a lady who when I first started doing Insight Timer, I reached out to her and she helped me to get started on here. And but she's Australian, and I haven't been able to go to any of her lives because she's a time that she does them just doesn't match with my time zone. But she's in Europe at the moment, so I've been to a couple of her lives in the last couple of days, which was quite nice. So thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. I hope you focus as much as you want to, and don't worry if you don't. None of this, like somebody already said, the space of non-judgmental awareness is the space of evolution, empowerment, and connecting to who we really are. So I hope I meet some of you on Zoom, maybe sometime. I'd like to meet somebody in real life off Insight Time. That would be really cool. A friend of mine was on a live with me yesterday who I do know in person. That was quite cool. So yeah, take care, lots of love, have an absolute beautiful day, and I hope that we meet. I'm not going to go now because Product's just put something there. If feminine energy mantra is I am enough, should masculine energy's mantra got to be keep seeking? I wonder if the enlightenment lifestyle too totally differs for these two energies. I don't know, Pradeep. That's really deep. Because I come across a lot of women who are seekers too. I think Michael Neal, he says that he works with jaded seekers. Me too, I think, so I think we're all seeking something, aren't we? So, I am enough is still seeking our well-being, often somewhere out there, isn't it? And it isn't out there, it's inside. So thank you so much. Lovely conversation today, really. Yeah, we are, Rachel. We are all enough. And thank you, Jana. And thank you for your vulnerability too, all of you. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for your love. And hopefully I'll see you on something else. Oh, I need to tell you what's happening tomorrow, don't you? Yeah, we're doing one tomorrow. Empowering resilience and self-compassion, the 3 principles way. So that's 1:11 tomorrow. Fortunately, I've scheduled it at PM, not AM like I did the other week, because I'm not getting up at 1 AM to do it live on Insight Time. I'm not that bonkers. So yeah, please do come and join me tomorrow. And then I haven't scheduled next week's, but next week we're going to explore relationships. So I do have a group on here called Powered by Calm, which is all about living a life that's powered by calm and not by stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. So if you want to join me then, you want to let me know what's going on in your relationships, if you're brave enough to share, I'd love to hear from you, and what you'd love me to talk about, because I'm still considering those lives that I'm going to do on relationships over the next month. And there's a course coming with it too. So lots of love, everyone. Have a fab day. Take care.